Hey everyone, today I'm diving into the fascinating world of sampling and data collection. If you're a researcher, understanding these concepts is key to conducting robust studies. First off, let's talk about the population. In research, a population is the entire group of individuals or objects that are of interest for a study. Imagine you're studying the prevalence of diabetes in adults in the United States. Your population would be all adults living in the US. Now, since studying an entire population is usually impractical, we use a sample. A sample is a subset of the population selected for study, allowing us to make inferences about the larger population. For our diabetes study, a sample might be 10,000 adults from various regions of the US. Sampling criteria help ensure that the sample is representative of the population. For example, the criteria for our diabetes study might include adults aged 18 and older, US residents, both genders, and various ethnicities and socioeconomic backgrounds. Several factors influence the sampling process, including research objectives, population characteristics, and available resources. If your diabetes study has limited funding, you might need to restrict your sample size or geographic range. Now, let's explore different sampling techniques. In probability sampling, we have simple random sampling, where every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. For example, you could use a random number generator to select participants from a list of all US adults. Stratified sampling involves dividing the population into subgroups or strata and taking samples from each. For instance, you could divide the US population into age groups and select a proportional number from each group. Cluster sampling divides the population into clusters, and some clusters are randomly selected. For example, you might randomly select certain cities and then study all adults in those cities. Systematic sampling means selecting every nth individual from the population list. For our diabetes study, you might choose every 100th person from a list of US adults. In non-probability sampling, convenience sampling involves selecting easily accessible participants, like surveying patients at a specific diabetes clinic. Purposive sampling is selecting participants based on the researcher's judgment. For example, you might choose individuals with varying degrees of diabetes severity for in-depth interviews. Snowball sampling has participants recruit other participants. In our case, you could ask diabetic patients to refer other diabetics they know. Moving on to data collection, there are several methods and instruments to consider. A questionnaire is a set of written questions for gathering information from respondents. For example, you might use a survey asking about dietary habits, exercise routines, and family history of diabetes. Structured interviews have a fixed set of questions. Semi-structured interviews allow some flexibility, and unstructured interviews are open-ended conversations. Conducting in-depth interviews with diabetic patients about their experiences is a great example. Analyzing records and reports, like medical records or government reports, is also a valuable method. For instance, you could examine hospital admission records for diabetes-related complications. Other techniques include observation, focus groups, and physical measurements like blood glucose levels, BMI, and blood pressure. Ensuring the validity and reliability of your instruments is crucial. Validity measures what it's supposed to measure, while reliability ensures consistency. A pilot study is a small-scale preliminary study conducted before the main research to check feasibility and refine procedures. By carefully considering each aspect of sampling and data collection, researchers can ensure their studies are scientifically sound and produce meaningful results.